Hey everyone, Kim here, Backroad Picking, and I am here today to talk to you about selling online. So as you know, we are online sellers, and I do this full time. I sell on eBay, Etsy, Whatnot, Poshmark, my own website that is hosted on Shopify. I also have a booth at the Peddlers Mall in Lebanon, and occasionally I do some events, some like one-off type events, and talk to people in places like that. It's fun. It's a way to get out there and get your name out there occasionally. So it's fun to do things like that. One of the things that happens when I'm at the Peddlers Mall and I'm talking to people, or when I run into people and they ask, what do you do? And I tell them, I get asked a lot, how do you do that? Uh, that seems hard. At the Peddlers Mall, when I'm talking to other sellers, I always hear, yeah, I'd like to do that, but I just don't think I can. It seems like too much, and I don't think I could handle it. And I hear that a lot from other vendors within the Peddlers Mall when I'm talking to them. So I'm here to talk to you about that. And especially if you're older, if you're 50 and older, and not as techy as you think you should be to be able to sell online, just know that you don't have to be real tech savvy to be able to do that. I've been doing this for over 20 years, and I can show you how. I'm going to walk you through some steps to figure out where to sell. I'm going to walk you through some steps to figure out how to find some inventory. And then I'm going to walk you through some steps on showing you how to get your inventory out there, how to price it, what to do to store it. This is going to be a whole series of information that you can use to get going and get started. Most of these videos are only going to be 10 to 15 minutes long. They're going to be really quick, and they're going to let you know what you can do to get going. I'm going to provide you with links to a lot of different places so you can get your own information at times, and we're going to get going right now. So, where should you sell? That is the biggest question, right? So there's so many different choices. I'm going to start with the places that we sell. I'm going to start with eBay. eBay is our number one selling channel. It always has been. It probably always will be. We start all of our listings on eBay. Everything starts on eBay. We list every product that we sell goes to eBay first. It's a fantastic place to start if you just have used items that you want to sell, if you have some stuff around your house that you want to get rid of. I was asked recently about selling grandma's china for somebody, and I can walk these people through how to get this on eBay so that they can get it sold and figure it out themselves. So this is a great place to go when you have these types of things that you want to get rid of. Or maybe you want to go shop the bins. You want to buy some of the returns, the open box items. Maybe you want to go to Goodwill bins. Maybe you're a thrifter. Maybe you love going to antique malls. I like personally flipping my items out that I collect. So everything that I collect doesn't stay in my house forever. When I bring in something new and I run out of space, I get rid of something. And that's just how I do it. So maybe this is the way you want to. eBay's the place for you. This is a really great place to get started. You get free listings for like up to 250 listings. They're free. So it doesn't cost you anything to try it out. You pay when you sell. You pay commission when you sell, and your commission is based on your sale price and your shipping costs. And you're going to pay for the total amount that the customer pays you. That's just the way it is. So just assume, and I'll get into some fee information here in a few minutes. Next is Etsy. Etsy is made for handmade, but they also accept vintage, and they do very well with vintage. Their clientele is a little bit more upscale, I believe, than what you see on eBay. It's a little more curated, I think is a good word for it. You get a lot more people on there who are looking for true antiques. We are picky about what we sell on Etsy. Everything that we sell does not go on Etsy. We have a price point that we won't put certain items up on Etsy. And Etsy, it has to be vintage and antiques if that's what you're selling, or handmade. Vintage means 20 years or older. Antiques means 100 years or older. Now, people cheat now and think that antiques are 50. Honestly, I would never call a 50-year-old item an antique. I would call that vintage. You might be able to get away with calling like a 70-year-old item an antique, but nothing before that. But regardless, if you're going to sell on Etsy, make sure what you're selling is either handmade or vintage. Don't try to put new items on there. You'll lose your account when their bots find you. Etsy can be a great place, but remember, there's a fee involved with listing on Etsy. They charge 20 cents per listing for 3 months of listing that item on their site. So one item costs you roughly 7 cents a month to list it. If you've got several hundred items, know that it's going to cost you a little bit more. We have some thresholds that we get because we list a lot there and we pay for some advertising, so we get a few items free. The next one you want to look at, consider maybe, is Poshmark. If you've got clothing, purses, shoes, accessories, scarves, hats, things like that, Poshmark is the place to go, especially if they're vintage or they're name brand. Poshmark is a great place to list those items, as is eBay. But Poshmark is another marketplace that you can put those that does fairly well. Now, Poshmark has 2 ways that you can sell. You can do live selling, which I'll get into in just a few minutes, or you can just list in your closet. In your closet is their list of things that you are selling. It doesn't cost you anything to put your products up for sale there. They charge you at the end. They charge you a commission just like everybody else does. And the nice part about Poshmark is the labeling. You can put in your weight and your size, and they will provide the label for you. You just have to print it and you're ready to go. So you don't have to try to figure out where to get a label. Now, all of the marketplaces do provide labels, but some of them require that you use their label. Poshmark is one of them that requires that you use their label. eBay and Etsy allow you to use your own label if you choose, where Poshmark, you do have to use theirs. The next site I'm going to tell you about is Mercari. Mercari is like, think of it as like a mini eBay. You can sell pretty much anything there. They do not have the traffic that you're going to get on eBay. eBay's got the most traffic as far as used items go and being able to sell open box and used and things like that. But Mercari has traffic and and you can do okay on there. It's kind of a catch-all. It's easy to use. There's no listing fee. If you price things right, you'll get some sales. You just have to make sure that you're doing okay with pricing, because Mercari does have a fee that they charge the buyer. So you need to make sure that you're providing a value so that that buyer is willing to pay that fee. There is also a fee to the seller. It's a little bit lower cost fee. I think it's 10% to sell on Mercari, but then they charge you a fee for the payment processing. So it still brings it up to about 12%, just like everybody else. And then the last one is Whatnot. Whatnot is different. It's live selling. You also have what they call bins. This is your storefront, your area where you store things, where you can offer things for sale. But mostly Whatnot is a live selling platform. You need to be in front of the camera and you need to run shows and you need to talk to people and be personable and have fun. It's social selling. The fees for Whatnot are a little bit lower. It's about 8% plus your payment processing. So it brings it up to about 10, 11%. The nice thing about Whatnot is the way that they provide the shipping. They've got a really sweet deal with USPS, so you can offer some lower shipping costs for some of their products that you can put into priority packages. And if you like the idea of chatting live, hanging out with people, and moving things really quickly, this is a great place to sell. And then you can, again, put things in your bins and have things there for people to look at. So now that we've covered some of the different places that you can sell, let's talk about the fees. Every platform has fees of some way, shape, or form. As I said, Etsy does charge you an upfront fee, but it's very, very low. It's like, 7 cents a month. So that really shouldn't be a factor if that's where you want to sell. Just build that into your cost. It's not that big of a deal. Let's talk about the actual fee of commission. My rule is that I want to get about 4 times my money on items that I sell, depending on the price point of what I'm paying. And that's assuming that I'm paying somewhere between $10 and $25 an item. Now, the higher priced items, if I'm paying $25 and it has a value of $80, $90, $100, I can usually be okay with a little bit less, maybe, keeping it in the 3.5 times mark. But you have to factor in how much it's going to cost you to sell things. So the easy way to do that when you're out shopping and you're buying things is to just have a quick rule of thumb. And that's where the 3.5 or 4 times rule comes in. Because you're going to have these, first of all, you're going to have your fees. Your fees are going to be anywhere from 12 to about 18%. I just assume it's 15% across the board to sell. My spreadsheet that I use actually has 18% that I assume it's going to cost me to sell, because you're going to pay the fee, the final value fee, which is the commission on the item that you sell, the selling price, but you're also going to pay that on the shipping. So if a customer is paying for their shipping, if you charge for shipping, and we don't do free shipping because honestly, shipping's not free. If they pay, say, $20, $25, let's say they pay $25 for an item, and it's a very lightweight item and it's going to cost you $5 to ship it. So you charge them $25 for the item, you charge them $5 for the shipping. And that $5 isn't really yours. It's going to the post office to pay for your shipping. But you're going to be charged a fee on that $5. So you're going to be charged this, say, 15% fee. And for, ease of calculation, we're just going to say it's 15%. So on $5, you're going to be charged 75 cents. So that $5 that you collected for shipping really turns out to be $4.25. So 75 cents of that shipping charge that you have to pay the post office is coming out of your profit from the item that you sold. So now your $25 item has already lost 75 cents. The easy way to look at that is that you collected $30. Your fees are about $4.50. You had to take $5 back out of that for shipping, and let's say your item cost you $5. You now have $14.50 in fees, which leaves you about an $8.50 profit, right? Yeah. So that is the way to calculate what it's going to cost you to sell something. Now, there are other costs involved in selling, like you have to have a box, and you have to have packing material, and you have to have things like that to ship. But it really depends on what it is that you're going to sell. So let's say you want to sell stuffed animals. Well, you don't really need a lot to sell stuffed animals. You can buy some Tyvek bags or go get some from the post office and use priority shipping for everything. And then you can sell your stuffed animals, and it won't cost you much of anything for supplies to ship it. If you buy Tyvek bags, you can source them all over the place, and there are plenty of places to get them on eBay. We buy a lot from a company called Bubble Wrap, so you can buy from them. There's some other companies out there that sell these, and you can get plenty of these at a very low cost, so it's not that big of a deal. But it is a cost. So make sure that you are factoring in all your costs when you're figuring out what it is that you want to price something at and where it is you want to sell. So getting back to the right platform. The thing that you have to decide to get to the right platform is making a decision on how you want to run your business and how you want to spend your time. Do you want to list it and forget it type deal like eBay, Etsy, Mercari? Or do you want to interact with your audience all the time, sell fast, be personable, run live shows, interact? Which is it that you choose? There's pros and cons to both. The list it and forget it type model means that you're taking pictures, you're getting those up listed, you have to upload everything, you're writing these descriptions, you're doing the measurements, and you're getting all of that done, and then you're putting it into a listing, and you're making it go live, and you're offering it for sale with a lot of other things that are for sale on the site that you're selling on. And then the other part of that is you have to store it somewhere until it sells. So you've got to have somewhere to keep it before it sells. Now, if you have fast-moving items, it's not a big deal. If you have a spare bedroom or a garage, or in our case, our basement is our business. We have a full walk out. Finished. It's a finished basement with very tall ceilings, thankfully. And we have shelving, and our warehouse is there. We have work areas. We actually have a studio room, and then there's a family room down there as well. But that's where we do our business, and that's where all of our stuff is sold or stored. So you have to have a place to store things when you're doing that. The flip side of that is if you want to sell in that live environment. When you sell in the live environment, you're scheduling a show ahead of time. You're getting everything together ahead of time. You need to make sure you have some notes so that you can tell the people what you're selling, and you can at least give them some information. And then you need to commit the time to operate your show. So if you decide that you're going to run a show every Tuesday at 2:00 in the afternoon, you need to really commit your time from 1:30 in the afternoon until whenever the end of your show is going to be. Now, I know a lot of Whatnot sellers run their shows for hours on end. I am not that person. When I run a show for 2.5 to 3 hours. That's it. I'm done. I can't talk longer than that, and so that's what I do. But some of these people run really long shows. Now, this is a time commitment that is a commitment for a very specific time. So if you have to keep that in mind. Where with the other model, it is a time commitment, of course, but it's a little more flexible. Either way, you have prep time. Either way, you have to get things together. Either way, you have to know what you're selling. You have to know your product. It's really a question of how do you want to do it? And that's something you really have to think about. If you need the flexibility, go with the list it and forget it. If you really love the interaction of social, by all means, do some Whatnot shows, do some Poshmark shows, have some fun with it. It is fun to sell on those. It is so much fun to interact. I love buying, I love selling on both of those sites. So that's kind of an overview of what is out there and what it takes. If you've never really thought about it, there you go. It's quick information. It's a quick introduction into the selling venues. It's just the tip of the iceberg. We're going to get deeper into some of this. We're going to talk about SEO. We're going to talk about photos. We're going to talk about shipping. There's so much more in upcoming episodes. I hope this was helpful to you. If so, please make sure you hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss the next video. And make sure you drop a comment and let me know what platform you're selling on, or what platform is crucial to you, which one you want to sell on, what do you want to know more about. And until next time, I'll see you on the back road. Bye.